Dead by Daylight, Chapter 21. Everybody has their own speculations on it, and quite honestly, I have my own. The three people that everybody seems to think, Candyman is a major one, Springtrap is a major one, and Pinhead is one that everybody talks about. Those are the three runners, right? Here's my thought process, right? I think it's going to be Springtrap. I think Springtrap would make the most sense. I'm going to tell you why. So based off of the clues that we have so far, Chapter 21, this killer is said to come by themselves, right? And they're supposed to come with a legendary outfit and a very rare outfit. We also know that this killer that's coming up is going to have a new animation for breaking pallets and a new animation for picking up and carrying a survivor. The pallet breaking isn't really that important. Nemesis just got his own way to break pallets. Nurse has her own different way of breaking pallets. Spirit has her own different way of breaking pallets. So breaking pallets doesn't really matter. It's the carrying survivors that's a bit intriguing, right? That is really all we know about what has been said for the killer for the next chapter. We also think that the chapter is coming out September 7th, and that the PTB is August 17th. Now, for everyone who says it's going to be Candyman, bases this off of the fact that the Candyman movie is supposed to come out a week before the actual chapter comes out. Everybody thinks that this Candyman is going to be based off of the new movie. I don't think it's going to be Candyman, and the reason why I think this is because every bit of information that we've gotten, it doesn't really line up with Candyman being the next killer. First of all, having a legendary skin is going to be very difficult for Candyman because legendary skins are supposed to turn you into different people. Some people believe that it's going to be Helen from the first movie. I disagree just because, other than Legion, there hasn't been any other killer or survivor that's ever been turned into a different gender. Like, there's never been a male that turns into a female or a female that turns into a male. The only killer that's ever done that is Legion. That's it. Also, every single Candyman movie is owned by a different company. This means it would be a pain in the butt to get different cosmetics for Candyman. They'd have to go to the company that has the certain skin that they want, right? So let's just say that Candyman is based off of this new movie that's coming out, like his design. They would then have to go to the company that owns the first Candyman movie to try to get Helen as the legendary skin. It is completely possible that they get the license to all these different Candyman movies for these skins, but it just seems like too much of a pain in the butt. Also, something to note, why would Candyman's carrying a survivor be any different from anybody else? I mean, his hook is on his right hand, and killers carry survivors with their left, so I don't see why it would be any different from Freddy or Michael, or literally anybody, so I don't really get that either. The only evidence that points to Candyman being the next chapter is that a YouTuber by the name of Polyester made a theory video that Candyman was going to be the next killer. He tweeted it out, and Tony Todd, the actor who plays Candyman, retweeted it, which made people think, hey, that means that Candyman's the next chapter, right? I personally think that Candyman will come to Dead by Daylight at some point. In fact, I think that Candyman will be in Dead by Daylight in December, but I don't think it's going to be this September. I just don't think any of this really adds up. I don't think any of it makes sense. As for Pinhead, as for a Hellraiser chapter, I don't think it's going to be Pinhead either. There's a lawsuit going on, and it's basically the same deal that Friday the 13th has right now, where the creator's trying to get what he made back, and the company, wants to keep it. Apparently, that dude who created Pinhead, who created Hellraiser, is getting the rights back this December, but with things still kind of messy, I don't really think it's going to be Pinhead either, although I can see him having a different legendary skin, turning him into a different Cenobite, and I could see him having a different skin in general. This leaves us with the last candidate, though, and that would be Springtrap. Quite honestly, I think everything fits. I can totally see an animatronic having a different pickup animation. I could totally see him having a different palette break animation, although, like I said before, that one doesn't really matter. I could totally see him having a different skin for Springtrap, and I could totally see him having a legendary skin that turns him into Freddy Fazbear. That would just make the most sense. It's also worthy to note that Springtrap, or I should say Five Nights at Freddy's, doesn't really have a survivor. It does, but you don't get to see the survivor at all, which makes it really hard for Dead by Daylight to put a survivor in. So Springtrap by himself makes complete sense, whereas Candyman does have survivors, and so does Hellraiser. One last thing I'd like to say, and I think it's very important, is that with these licensed chapters, negotiations have to happen at least a year before they actually come out, right? So that they can come to terms, and then they can actually create the character, do it justice, all that jazz. The reason why this is important is because everything going on with Scott Cawthon does not matter. Everything that has transpired does not matter, because all that happened 2 months ago, right? And they're not going to throw away a license for something that happened 2 months ago when they're this close to release. So this whole situation does not impact Springtrap's arrival in September for Chapter 21. It just does not. So with all of this being said, I really do think that Springtrap is going to be the next killer for Chapter 21. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. And honestly, I'm going to be okay with whoever it is because it's a license, so that's a win for really everybody. But I do think that everything points to Springtrap. I really do think it will be. You guys let me know in the comments what you think. I'd love to have a chat about this. Thanks for watching. See you later.